Beneath the bustling streets of Cincinnati, Ohio, lies one of the most eerie and mysterious places in America, the abandoned Cincinnati subway. What was once meant to be a thriving rapid transit system has become a dark and forgotten relic. The subway, a project that started with hope and ambition in the early 1900s, was never completed due to skyrocketing costs, political infighting, and the economic crash of the Great Depression. Today, it stretches for just over 2 miles beneath the city, making it the largest abandoned subway system in the United States. The tunnels, which were never used, are now known for more than just being a failed project. They've earned a reputation as one of the most haunted places in Ohio. There are no official records of disasters or mass deaths in the subway, but the eerie atmosphere and strange occurrences have sparked rumors of ghostly activity. People who venture into the tunnels, either through urban exploration or during the now-canceled tours, often speak of feeling uneasy as if unseen eyes were watching them. Some even claim to hear distant footsteps, whispers, and breathing in the darkness. It's hard to imagine such a vast abandoned space lying quietly beneath a busy city, but even harder to believe that it's not entirely empty. According to many, the ghosts of the subway's past workers, who labored and possibly even died during its construction, still linger in the shadows. These restless spirits seem determined to keep their forgotten domain undisturbed. This is just the beginning of the haunted history of the Cincinnati subway, a story that only gets darker the deeper you go. As the years passed, the unfinished Cincinnati subway gained a notorious reputation for being more than just a forgotten relic of urban development. Stories began to emerge about strange happenings and ghostly encounters deep within the tunnels. Urban explorers, thrill seekers, and those curious about the city's hidden history would occasionally sneak into the abandoned subway. What they found was more than just cold, empty tunnels. They found a place filled with an unsettling energy. Many visitors claimed to feel an overwhelming sense of dread as they wandered through the dimly lit passages. The darkness seemed to press in from all sides, and some swore they could hear faint echoes of footsteps behind them, only to turn and find nothing there. Others reported hearing whispers carried on the stale air or feeling an icy chill, as though unseen spirits were passing by. These accounts were enough to cement the subway's status as one of Cincinnati's most haunted locations. Local legends also contributed to the subway's eerie reputation. Some say the spirits of workers who died during the subway's construction are still trapped in the tunnels. Though no official records of fatal accidents exist, it's believed that the dangerous conditions during construction may have led to some tragic deaths, with the souls of the workers unable to rest. Additionally, the oppressive isolation of the underground setting, the lack of light, sound, and any connection to the outside world, only heightens the fear and the belief that something sinister lurks in the shadows. The subway's haunted history grew so well known that the Cincinnati Museum Center once held guided tours of the tunnels, allowing brave visitors to experience the chilling atmosphere firsthand. However, due to safety concerns, these tours were discontinued in 2015. Now, the tunnels sit sealed off from the public, their haunting stories left to echo through the darkness beneath the city. But the reputation of the Cincinnati subway as a haunted location remains strong, with many convinced that it's not just the city's history that lies buried down there, it's the restless spirits of the past. The Cincinnati subway has many dark corners, and it is within these depths that people claim to have experienced some of the most terrifying encounters. Although much of the tunnels remain sealed, urban explorers have long been fascinated by what lies within the abandoned system. Those who have dared to venture inside report strange, unexplainable phenomena, with some experiences standing out as particularly chilling. One of the most frequently reported encounters happens near the old Liberty Street station platform. Many visitors have claimed to hear the faint sound of footsteps following them, echoing through the tunnel, even when no one else is around. The steps seem to get closer, as if someone or something is trailing just behind. The moment these individuals turn around to investigate, the sound stops, and they are left alone in the oppressive silence of the tunnel. It's said that these footsteps belong to the restless spirit of a subway worker who met an untimely death during construction, forever pacing the tunnels in search of something lost. Another eerie location within the subway is near the Walnut Street entrance, where visitors often report the sensation of being watched. The atmosphere feels particularly heavy here, with some people even describing an overwhelming sense of dread that makes them turn back before going any deeper. One explorer recounted feeling an icy breath on the back of their neck, as if someone had whispered right behind them. Yet, when they spun around, there was no one to be seen, only the empty, pitch-black tunnel, stretching endlessly in both directions. Perhaps the most unsettling story comes from a group of explorers who were making their way through the Central Parkway tunnel. They reported seeing a shadowy figure standing far down the track bed, unmoving and silent. At first, they thought it was another explorer, but as they approached, the figure vanished into thin air. Frightened, they quickly turned back, only to hear faint laughter coming from the darkness behind them, though no one else was supposed to be down there. This incident has led many to believe that there's a darker, more malevolent presence lurking in the subway, something far more sinister than a lost worker's ghost. The Cincinnati subway may be empty of passengers, but the encounters people have experienced suggest that it's far from abandoned. The ghostly sightings and unexplained events continue to add to the mystery and fear that surround this forgotten part of the city, making it one of the most terrifying haunted locations in Ohio. As more brave souls explore the Cincinnati subway, the ghostly encounters grow even more unsettling. One chilling area within the tunnels is the Hopple Street Tunnel. This section was among the last parts of the subway built before construction halted, and it carries an eerie history. Urban explorers who venture into this area often feel a sudden drop in temperature, as if they've stepped into a freezer, even in the height of summer. Many claim to see mist or fog creeping along the ground, swirling unnaturally through the darkness. What makes the Hopple Street Tunnel even more disturbing is the recurring appearance of a pale figure standing at the far end of the tunnel. This apparition has been described as a man in old, tattered work clothes, his face blurred and impossible to make out. Witnesses say he doesn't move or react, simply staring from the shadows, and as they approach, he fades into nothingness. A few explorers who dared to get closer to this ghostly figure reported feeling a strong sense of nausea and dizziness, as if something was trying to push them away from the tunnel. Another notorious spot is the Vine Street station, where people have reported hearing faint voices echoing through the tunnels. These voices often seem to be fragments of conversations or whispers that drift in and out of earshot, but no one is ever there. Some claim the voices sound like subway workers, discussing mundane tasks or calling out to one another, while others have heard more unsettling noises, cries for help, or the sound of someone gasping for breath, as if trapped beneath the rubble. These disembodied voices have become a hallmark of the haunted reputation of the Cincinnati subway. One of the most bizarre encounters happened to a pair of explorers who decided to visit the old platform beneath Race Street. As they made their way through the tunnel, they noticed strange markings on the walls, symbols and carvings that hadn't been there before, as if someone had recently scratched them into the brick. These symbols seemed ancient and cryptic, and the explorers felt an overwhelming sense of dread. As they studied the markings, they suddenly heard a loud banging noise, like metal being struck, echoing through the tunnel. Panicked, they turned to leave, only to hear footsteps running toward them from the darkness. The footsteps grew louder and faster, but no one ever appeared. They ran out of the tunnel, shaken by the experience, and swearing never to return. The Cincinnati subway's haunted history continues to draw on explorers, but these encounters only deepen the mystery. What remains beneath the city's streets are not just abandoned tunnels, but a place where the past and something far more supernatural seem to coexist, leaving behind an eerie silence broken only by the occasional ghostly interruption. The abandoned Cincinnati subway stands as a monument to an unfinished dream, but it has also become a place shrouded in mystery, fear, and the unknown. While the project was meant to bring a modern transit system to the city, it has instead left behind a network of ghostly tunnels that seem to pulse with a strange, supernatural energy. For decades, these dark and forgotten passages have been the source of countless ghost stories and eerie encounters, cementing their place in the haunted history of Ohio. Despite being sealed off from the public, the Cincinnati subway continues to lure curious explorers, urban adventurers, and paranormal investigators who seek answers to the strange phenomena reported there. Whether it's the cold spots, the phantom footsteps, or the ghostly figures that appear and disappear in the darkness, those who venture into the subway's depths come away with more questions than answers. It seems as though something or someone is still lurking down there, unwilling to leave. What makes the hauntings of the Cincinnati subway so unnerving is that there's no single explanation for why the tunnels are so full of paranormal activity. Some believe that the spirits of workers who lost their lives during construction are trapped, their unfinished work mirroring the incomplete subway itself. Others suggest that the location's isolation, combined with the darkness and the heavy weight of history, makes it a perfect breeding ground for the supernatural. And then, there are those who think the subway's haunted reputation may be a mixture of both. The restless energy of a failed project combined with the spirits of the past. As the years go by, the subway's ghost stories grow, passed from one generation of explorers to the next. Yet, for all the tales of hauntings and strange occurrences, the tunnels remain eerily quiet most of the time, forgotten by the world above. Every now and then, someone suggests reopening the subway or repurposing the tunnels, but nothing ever comes of it, almost as if something deeper, something unseen, is keeping the place locked in its eerie silence. In the end, the Cincinnati subway is more than just an abandoned relic. It's a place where history and the supernatural intersect, leaving behind an unsettling atmosphere that lingers with those brave enough to explore its depths. The ghosts that may haunt the subway seem to belong there, trapped in a time that never moved forward, much like the tunnels themselves. And while the subway may never see the light of day again, its haunted reputation continues to thrive in the shadows, a dark reminder of what was left unfinished beneath Cincinnati's streets. The Avon Bridge, located in Avon, Indiana, is not just an old railway bridge. It is a place shrouded in mystery and haunting stories. Built in the early 1900s, specifically in 1906, this bridge has stood for over a century, spanning about 300 feet and towering 70 feet high. It was constructed to serve the Big Four Railroad, which connected major cities like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Chicago, and St. Louis. Over the years, the bridge became more than just a structure for trains. It has become famous for the eerie tales that surround it, marking it as one of the most haunted places in Hendricks County. The Avon Bridge's haunted reputation stretches back to the time it was built. Some say the strange happenings began almost immediately after its completion. One of the most well-known legends tells the story of a mother walking along the tracks with her baby. The tragic tale says that both the mother and child fell to their deaths, and to this day, the mother's wails can be heard when passing under the bridge. In an attempt to drown out her cries, locals honk their car horns while driving beneath it. Another spine-chilling story is about a construction worker who tragically slipped and fell into the wet concrete during the bridge's construction. It's said that his moans can still be heard echoing from the arches, especially when a train passes over. This eerie mix of real-life tragedy and paranormal stories has made the Avon Bridge a place of fascination and fear. Locals have shared stories about strange sounds, ghostly apparitions, and other unsettling experiences tied to the bridge. These stories are so well known in the area that mentioning the Haunted Avon Bridge to a resident of Hendricks County will almost always evoke a knowing response. The bridge has become a part of the town's identity. It even appears on the Avon town seal and is featured in countless paintings and photographs that showcase not only the town, but the history of the county. People visit the site to experience its eerie atmosphere firsthand, and the haunting legends have been passed down for generations. The Avon Bridge stands as more than just a historical landmark. It is a symbol of the town's haunted past. The Avon Bridge's reputation as a haunted location has only grown over the years. For more than a century, locals have whispered about the spirits that linger there, and the stories have become deeply embedded in the community's folklore. These tales have been passed down from generation to generation, each one adding another layer to the bridge's haunted history. One of the most famous legends is the story of a young mother. According to the tale, she was hurrying across the tracks with her sick baby, trying to reach a doctor. As she crossed the bridge, she tripped on a railroad tie and tragically dropped her baby into the creek below. Desperate, the mother tried to save her child, but both of them died that day. It is said that on quiet nights, her ghostly cries can be heard as she searches for her lost baby near the bridge. Many locals believe that honking their car horns while passing under the bridge will quiet her mournful wails. Another spine-tingling story involves the unfortunate death of a construction worker. During the bridge's construction in 1906, a worker slipped and fell into the wet cement while working on one of the arches. Trapped inside the bridge's framework, his cries for help were silenced by the drying concrete. Now many claim to hear his moans late at night, especially when a train rumbles over the tracks above. This tragic story has become an inseparable part of the bridge's haunted identity, with some even reporting seeing ghostly figures near the arches where the worker met his fate. These ghost stories are not just random tales told to spook people. They are part of the bridge's folklore that gives it an unsettling atmosphere. The bridge's dark past, coupled with the strange sounds and sightings reported by many, has made it a place that people both fear and are drawn to. Whether it's the cries of the grieving mother or the moans of the trapped worker, the Avon Bridge has built a reputation as one of Indiana's most haunted spots. Locals and visitors alike are often left wondering what really lies behind the eerie occurrences at this century-old bridge. As more people ventured near the Avon Bridge, especially at night, eerie encounters with the supernatural began to surface. While the ghostly legends stirred curiosity, the real-life experiences reported by locals only deepened the mystery surrounding the bridge. These sightings weren't just urban myths. Many have come forward with chilling accounts of strange happenings that are difficult to explain. One of the most haunted spots at the bridge is said to be beneath its towering arches. Late at night, people passing through on foot or in cars have reported hearing unsettling noises echoing through the structure. Some hear faint cries, others describe a soft moaning sound that seems to come from deep within the stone itself. These encounters are thought to be linked to the tragic deaths that occurred during the bridge's construction. In the early 1900s, the bridge was built as part of the Big Four Railroad, a major project that connected cities like Cincinnati, Chicago, and Indianapolis. The construction spanned from 1906 to 1907, with workers laboring tirelessly to complete the project. The bridge is an impressive triple-arch structure, towering over White Lick Creek and standing at over 70 feet tall. It stretches more than 300 feet in length, a massive and imposing figure that dominates the landscape. It was during this time, however, that the first of many tragic accidents took place. There are reports that several workers died during the bridge's construction, with at least 4 men plunging to their deaths from the wooden framework set up above the creek. The most notable of these accidents involved a man who fell directly into freshly poured concrete. Unable to be rescued, his body was entombed within the stone structure. Some locals say that his saw, which he was using at the time of the accident, can still be seen protruding from the center support of the bridge. Even more disturbing are the claims that his screams for help can still be heard whenever a train crosses over the tracks above, as if his spirit remains trapped within the cement. In addition to these ghostly encounters, the bridge's design itself contributes to its eerie atmosphere. The Gothic arches, combined with the weathered stone and moss that has grown over the years, give it a haunting appearance. The bridge has stood for more than 100 years, and with that, it has gained a haunting sense of history. The passage of time has only added to the bridge's unsettling energy, as the weight of the past seems to linger in every creak and groan of the aging structure. Visitors to the bridge often report a heavy, oppressive feeling as they walk under its arches, as though they are being watched. The stories of ghostly figures appearing in the shadows, strange cold spots, and disembodied whispers have all been tied to the bridge's tragic past. Whether it's the spirits of the workers who died there, or the mournful mother still searching for her child, the Avon Bridge remains one of the most haunted places in Indiana. Over the years, the Avon Bridge has gathered even more tales of strange occurrences and eerie encounters. Local residents and curious visitors alike have reported experiences that only deepen the legend surrounding the bridge. While many come to see the historical structure, some leave with stories they never expected. One common occurrence reported by those who visit the bridge at night is an overwhelming sense of being watched. Several individuals have claimed that, while standing near the bridge, they feel eyes on them, yet no one is around. Others have heard whispers carried by the wind as they stand under the arches. With no discernible source, the feeling of an invisible presence lurking in the shadows of the bridge is enough to unsettle even the most skeptical. The bridge's arches, tall and looming, seem to amplify the sounds around them. Several people have shared stories of hearing what they describe as phantom footsteps echoing above, as if someone is walking on the tracks. What's chilling is that these footsteps are often heard when no trains are present and no person is seen. The idea that the bridge is still alive with the activity of long-past workers or other figures adds a sinister layer to its already mysterious reputation. On particularly quiet nights, some have described seeing faint figures near the bridge. These ghostly apparitions are said to appear on the tracks or under the bridge, only to vanish moments later. Witnesses often describe these figures as shadowy forms, difficult to make out, but undeniably human-like. These sightings have fueled the belief that the spirits tied to the bridge are restless, and their presence is still felt today. Adding to the eerie atmosphere are strange, unexplained flashes of light. People driving under the bridge at night have reported seeing quick, bright lights in their peripheral vision, only to have them disappear when they turn to look. Others say they've seen glowing orbs floating around the area near the bridge, particularly by the creek below. These unexplained lights are a common hallmark of haunted locations, and they've only served to fuel the mystery surrounding Avon Bridge. These reports, collected over decades, have contributed to the bridge's reputation as one of the most haunted spots in Hendricks County. The mixture of eerie sounds, unsettling sightings, and the feeling of a constant presence has turned Avon Bridge into a destination for thrill seekers and paranormal investigators alike. Each new encounter seems to add another layer to the bridge's haunted legacy, with more people visiting to experience its ghostly tales firsthand. The haunted Avon Bridge has become much more than just a piece of history. For over a century, the stories of spirits tied to its arches have captured the imagination of locals and visitors alike. What began as eerie tales shared around town has now transformed the bridge into a legendary landmark, forever associated with its haunted reputation. As much as the physical structure itself stands as a relic of the early 20th century, its folklore and ghostly encounters have made it a living part of Avon's identity. Today, the tradition of honking when passing under the bridge is still alive, whether to honor the spirits or simply out of habit, drivers continue to sound their horns, acknowledging the presence of those who supposedly haunt the bridge. Some do it to keep the ghostly screams of the mother and construction worker at bay, while others do it as a nod to the well-known legends. It has become a ritual in the town's culture, tying the past to the present in a unique and chilling way. Though many come to the bridge out of curiosity, not everyone leaves unaffected. There's something about standing in the shadow of its towering arches that stirs an uneasy feeling, even in broad daylight. The eerie silence that falls over the area, the occasional strange sounds, and the weight of the stories attached to the bridge all contribute to an experience that lingers long after you've left. As the years go by, the stories of the Avon Bridge will continue to be passed down, much like the bridge itself has weathered the passage of time. Its haunting legacy has outlasted its original purpose, and whether or not you believe in ghosts, the impact of the bridge's eerie history is undeniable. The Haunted Avon Bridge stands as a reminder that sometimes history leaves behind more than just structures and memories. It can leave behind spirits too. The Wabasha Street Caves in St. Paul, Minnesota, have a long and storied history that stretches back to the 1840s. Carved into the sandstone bluffs along the Mississippi River, these caves were originally created to mine silica for glassmaking. Over the years, the caves have served many purposes, from growing mushrooms to storing goods, but it is their time as a speakeasy during the Prohibition era that has cemented their reputation as one of Minnesota's most haunted locations. During the 1920s and 1930s, the Wabasha Street Caves became a haven for gangsters. St. Paul, with its reputation as a safe city for criminals, was the perfect place for these outlaws to lay low and enjoy themselves. The first speakeasy to open in the caves was the Wabasha Street Speakeasy, a hidden club where gangsters like John Dillinger and Ma Barker were rumored to have frequented. Later, the speakeasy was transformed into a more upscale venue known as the Castle Royal. This nightclub attracted not only the criminal element, but also the upper-class citizens of St. Paul, who were looking for a good time during the dark days of Prohibition. As glamorous as the Castle Royal was, it also became the site of more sinister activities. The cave's secluded location made them an ideal spot for gangsters to conduct their business. The most infamous event in the cave's history occurred in the fireside room, a side chamber off the main cave. Local legend tells of a night when 4 gangsters were playing cards by the fireplace. A man with a case walked in, asked the band to leave early, and then proceeded to gun down 3 of the card players. The bodies were never found, but bullet holes in the fireplace stand as a chilling reminder of that night. After World War II, the caves were closed to the public and returned to their original use as a place for growing mushrooms. But by the 1970s, they were once again opened up as a nightclub, this time catering to the disco craze, with the Castle Royal 2. Although the music and the crowd had changed, the haunted atmosphere remained. Over the years, many visitors have reported encountering the spirits of those long-dead gangsters, still lingering in the caves where they met their end. Today, the Wabasha Street Caves are used as an event center and tourist attraction. The caves' eerie history and their connection to some of America's most notorious criminals have made them a popular spot for ghost tours. Visitors come from far and wide, hoping to catch a glimpse of the restless spirits that are said to haunt these underground chambers. Whether it's the ghostly figures seen on the old dance floor, the phantom couple who appear during events, or the terrifying apparition of a woman at the bar, the Wabasha Street Caves continue to be a place where the past refuses to stay buried. The Wabasha Street Caves' reputation as one of Minnesota's most haunted locations has grown over the decades, fueled by numerous reports of paranormal activity and the cave's dark history. While the caves themselves are a fascinating piece of St. Paul's history, it's the ghostly legends that have truly captured the public's imagination. The cave's eerie atmosphere is undeniable. Carved deep into the sandstone, the tunnels and rooms are dimly lit, with shadows that seem to stretch and flicker as you move through the space. This haunting environment, combined with the cave's infamous past as a gangster hideout, has led many to believe that the spirits of those who met violent ends here still linger. One of the most persistent legends involves the ghosts of the gangsters who once frequented the caves. Visitors and staff alike have reported seeing shadowy figures dressed in 1930s-style suits and fedoras, silently watching from dark corners or walking through the old dance floor. These apparitions are often accompanied by the faint sound of music, as if an unseen band is still playing for the long-gone patrons of the Castle Royal. The fireside room, where the notorious triple murder allegedly took place, is said to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Many people have felt an overwhelming sense of unease upon entering this room, as if they're being watched by unseen eyes. Some have even reported feeling a sudden chill or hearing the distant echo of gunfire, a chilling reminder of the violent events that took place here. The caves are also home to the spirit of a mysterious woman, often seen near the old bar area. Described as a forlorn figure with a pale face and sad eyes, she is said to appear out of nowhere, startling those who encounter her. Some believe she might be the spirit of a waitress who witnessed the murders in the fireside room, forever tied to the place where she saw such horror. As word of these ghostly encounters spread, the Wabasha street caves became a magnet for paranormal investigators and ghost hunters. Many have visited the caves, hoping to document evidence of the supernatural. Some have captured strange orbs of light in their photographs, while others have recorded unexplained voices during their investigations. These experiences have only added to the cave's reputation as a haunted location, drawing in curious visitors year after year. The haunted history of the Wabasha Street Caves is not just a collection of ghost stories. It's a reflection of the turbulent past that shaped St. Paul during the Prohibition era. The caves stand as a reminder of a time when crime and corruption were rampant, and where the line between life and death was often crossed in the blink of an eye. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the chilling atmosphere of the Wabasha Street Caves and the tales of those who met their end here are enough to send a shiver down anyone's spine. Within the Wabasha Street Caves, certain areas are believed to be particularly active with paranormal phenomena, tied directly to the specific events and figures from the cave's dark history. These haunted spots have become the focal points of many ghost stories, with visitors and investigators recounting eerie encounters with the spirits that are said to linger there. One of the most infamous areas is the fireside room, the site of the rumored triple gangster murder. This room, with its old stone fireplace and vintage decor, carries an unsettling energy. Many people who enter the fireside room report feeling a sudden drop in temperature, as if the air around them is turned icy cold. Some have even claimed to see the ghostly figures of the murdered gangsters, seated at the table where they met their end. These apparitions are often described as being incredibly lifelike, dressed in period clothing, their faces expressionless as they stare into the fire or at one another, replaying the final moments of their lives. Another hotspot for ghostly activity is the main dance floor area of the Castle Royal. This space, once alive with the sounds of big band music and the laughter of revelers, now holds a different kind of energy. Several visitors have reported seeing the spectral forms of dancers twirling across the floor, their feet moving silently in a waltz that only they can hear. These ghostly couples, dressed in elegant attire from the 1930s, are often seen during the quieter moments of the day, when the caves are still and the only sounds are the echoes of the past. The phantom dancers seem unaware of the living, lost in their own world. repeating the joy of a night that never truly ended for them. The old bar area is another place where the paranormal seems to converge. It's here that the spirit of the mysterious woman is most often seen. Described as a ghostly figure with a sorrowful expression, she's been spotted by numerous people, always near the bar, as if waiting for someone who never arrived. Some believe she could be a former employee, possibly the waitress, who witnessed the gangster murders in the fireside room, her spirit trapped in the place where she experienced such terror. Her presence is often accompanied by a feeling of deep sadness, and some who have seen her claim to hear the faint sound of weeping. In addition to these specific hauntings, there are also reports of other, less defined phenomena throughout the caves. Visitors have spoken of hearing disembodied voices, the sounds of footsteps echoing through empty corridors, and seeing misty, translucent figures that vanish as quickly as they appear. Objects are said to move on their own, and lights flicker without explanation. One particularly eerie tale involves a group of tourists who took a photograph in the caves, only to discover later that they were not alone in the image. Behind them stood the faint outline of a man in a fedora, his face obscured by shadow. These ghostly encounters have solidified the Wabasha Street Caves' reputation as one of the most haunted places in Minnesota. Each story, whether it involves a shadowy figure, a chilling breeze, or a strange noise, adds another layer to the mystery of the caves. The spirits that are said to inhabit these underground tunnels seem to be deeply connected to the history of the place. Their restless energy, a reminder of the violence and intrigue that once filled these dark spaces. For those who dare to explore, the Wabasha Street Caves offer a glimpse into a past that refuses to stay buried. Beyond the specific hauntings already mentioned, the Wabasha Street Caves are filled with many other ghostly tales, each adding to the eerie atmosphere that pervades these underground passages. As visitors continue to explore the caves, they often encounter spirits and strange phenomena in less well-known areas, deepening the sense of unease that these historic tunnels evoke. One such area is the back tunnels of the caves, where the light barely penetrates, leaving long stretches of shadowy corridors. These tunnels, used in the past for storage and as escape routes, have become a focal point for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. Many people report hearing whispers in these darkened passages, voices that seem to come from just around the corner, but when they investigate, they find nothing. The whispers are often described as urgent, almost frantic, as if the spirits are trying to communicate something important, but are unable to make themselves fully understood. In these tunnels, the feeling of being watched is almost overwhelming. Visitors have spoken of the sensation of eyes following them as they walk, accompanied by the faintest sounds of footsteps echoing their own. Some have even claimed to feel a cold hand brush against their skin, only to turn around and find the tunnel empty. These experiences have led many to believe that the back tunnels are haunted by the spirits of those who met untimely deaths within the caves, perhaps even the victims of the infamous gangster violence that once took place there. Another haunted spot in the caves is the storage area that was once used to age cheese and beer. While this might seem like an unlikely location for ghostly activity, it has become known for strange occurrences. Workers who have been in the storage area late at night report hearing the clinking of bottles and the scraping of crates being moved, even though no one else is present. On more than one occasion, objects have been found in different places from where they were left, as if unseen hands have been at work during the night. There is also the old kitchen, where the spirits of former staff members are said to linger. This kitchen, which served the speakeasies and nightclubs that operated in the caves, is a place where people often feel a sudden chill, despite the warmth of the ovens that once filled the room. Knives and utensils are sometimes found scattered on the counters in the morning, even though they were neatly put away the night before. One of the more unsettling reports involves the smell of freshly cooked food wafting through the kitchen, even though the ovens have been cold for years. Some believe that the spirits of the cooks continue their work in the afterlife, preparing meals for guests who have long since passed away. One of the more curious hauntings occurs in the dressing rooms, once used by performers who entertained the crowds at Castle Royal. These small, dimly lit rooms have been the site of numerous sightings of ghostly figures, often seen in the mirrors as fleeting reflections. The spirits of former performers, still dressed in their stage costumes, are said to appear briefly in the reflection before disappearing as suddenly as they came. People who enter these rooms often describe feeling a sense of nostalgia mixed with melancholy, as if the walls themselves remember the laughter, music, and heartbreak that once filled the space. Finally, there is the entrance tunnel, which many believe is a portal of sorts for the spirits that inhabit the caves. This tunnel, with its rough-hewn walls and low ceiling, has an oppressive feel that only intensifies as one moves deeper into the caves. It is here that many first experience the strange energies of the Wabasha street caves, with some reporting a strong, almost magnetic pull that seems to draw them further into the darkness. Others have spoken of seeing shadowy figures at the edge of their vision, figures that vanish when they try to focus on them. This tunnel has become synonymous with the idea of the caves as a gateway to the unknown, a place where the past continues to bleed into the present. As the stories of these hauntings spread, the Wabasha Street Caves have solidified their reputation as a place where history and the supernatural intersect. Each area within the caves seems to hold its own secrets, waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to explore. For many, the caves are not just a historical site, but a living, breathing entity filled with the echoes of a past that refuses to rest. As the stories of the Wabasha Street Caves have been passed down through the years, the line between history and legend has become increasingly blurred. And what remains clear, however, is the undeniable presence that still lingers within these darkened tunnels. The caves, once a lively center of entertainment and illicit activity, now serve as a chilling reminder of the past, a past that refuses to fade away. For many visitors, the Wabasha Street Caves offer a unique glimpse into St. Paul's colorful history, where the echoes of a bygone era can still be heard. The ghosts of gangsters, speakeasy patrons, and those who met untimely deaths within these walls continue to leave their mark on the present. Whether it's the sound of distant music, the flicker of a shadow just out of sight, or the cold touch of an unseen hand, the supernatural experiences reported by those who have entered the caves are both compelling and unsettling. The enduring appeal of the Wabasha Street Caves lies in their ability to transport visitors to a different time, a time when the air was thick with the scent of whiskey and the threat of violence hung in the shadows. It is a place where the past is ever present, where the spirits of those who once walked these halls seem to be waiting, watching, and perhaps even guiding those who venture too close to their hidden world. Despite their haunted reputation, the caves continue to be a popular venue for events, tours, and paranormal investigations. Each year, countless people are drawn to the mystery and intrigue of the Wabasha Street Caves, eager to experience for themselves the eerie atmosphere that has made these tunnels a focal point for ghost stories in Minnesota. The stories of the Wabasha Street Caves remind us that history is never truly gone. It lives on in the places we visit, the stories we tell, and the experiences we share. The caves are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, even in death. The ghosts of the Wabasha Street Caves are not just relics of the past. They are a part of the living history of St. Paul, forever entwined with the city's identity. As you leave the caves and return to the sunlight, it's hard not to feel a sense of awe at the power these underground passages hold. The Wabasha Street Caves are more than just a tourist attraction. They are a reminder that some stories never truly end. they continue to unfold, whispered by the spirits who still call these caves home, inviting each new visitor to add their own chapter to the ever-growing legend of one of Minnesota's most haunted places.